Howdy y'all, Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee. We are getting very close to being able to run people through this castle for test games before I do the actual game with the hermits. But you know what? I realized I need to go back and work on my role-playing game shop to make sure that we have an area for everyone to assemble before we get started. So why don't we go ahead and head back to spawn? I was thinking about this. I haven't taken a boat back to spawn in a while, and you know, there is so much going on all the time on this server that you don't get to see if you just run through the nether. Although I hear there's also like a new nether hub going in or whatever, sooner or later. But you know, like these things, these red race course things, you know, you wouldn't get to run through those if you didn't swing back out over here. But anyway, I just figured I would go ahead and take the scenic route for a change. Oh, this is interesting. There's a new landmass here apparently. I don't remember this island being here, unless it was maybe not flat before and it has since been flattened. Looks like we got a new big top going up over here. Always something new happening on the Hermitcraft server. Anyway, I figured we would go ahead and take a nice little boat ride to spawn.
Who's the guy who can conquer death? That's Joe Hills. He plays for Nashville when he plays Minecraft. That's Joe Hills. That's Joe Hills.
And as you can tell by the frequent mob appearances, we have arrived here at our castle, which means it's not our castle. What do you call this? At our spawn area. Now, of course, this area is not lit because that would make things easy for video game players like myself. So instead, we tend to surround everything with terrifying monsters. Good terrifying monsters. Thank you for scaring me. You're doing your job. Okay, there's two of you. We're just going to keep on going. Oh, more skeletal archers. I think we are just going to kind of flee generally down into the entrance. Where is it? I know there's an entrance to the underground cavern here. And if I run fast enough, they won't all jump down on my head with creepers and knives or whatever it is zombies carry these days. Let's go ahead and just... Okay, not being followed. It's always important to make sure you're not being followed. There's our shop, looking good as always here. Just hop on down to there. Boom! Perfect jump. And what I was thinking is that we would come up here and look at this gaming table area. Because even though this is a great place to start a game, to go around and introduce your players and everything, for certain conceptual games, it might be helpful to have kind of a sand table, if you will, or a whiteboard table that you can draw on. Either, you know, you want to... With a sand table, you would sculpt terrain and things like that. With a whiteboard table, you would just draw on it with markers. This table can be neither nor. If I wanted to use blocks on this table, well, for one thing, I would have had to bring blocks. So, but like, let's say that I wanted to lay out a maze on this table and say, okay, guys, as you explore the maze, I'm going to unveil what's around the corner. This is a very hard table to fit an entire maze on. Whoops, that's also now just a enclosed area, not a maze. But so I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking what I actually want to do is I want to mine out a room back behind the shop here. You know, so we are using the bookshelf area of the shop as the facade. I know I say that wrong every time. It's probably not funny if I tell you I know I say it wrong every time, but I really think that you guys will think Southerners are dumb. And maybe I should give you the benefit of the doubt on that. But, okay, so let's just look at this here. So we have our stairwell coming up on this side, leading out into this area where we overlook everything beautiful and awesome. We got our builds shop, we got our other shops. But then, the logical way to do this would be not to have the entrance to our back table area in the middle. Although that makes sense to some degree because the dungeon master could unveil this and then everybody could follow them through. But I think that the saner way to do this, although I'm going to regret patching that with cobble, would be to go through kind of in this corner more. So, oh man, I forgot how wonderful it is to have these haste items. I can dig this out so much faster than I was thinking. Okay, great. So, what I'm probably going to end up doing, ultimately here, is having... You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and make the entrance to this back room actually just be a straight up post system here. Like, we'll go ahead and fill this in. We'll put smooth stone there eventually. But yeah, let's go ahead and just take 3 of these and, oh man, slice this through this like butter. Boom. Then we can just take our oak fences here. And then, yeah, so we've got this kind of carrying us through to this back area, which will actually probably want to both lower the floor of and raise the roof of to make room for whatever we're going to want to do. But I don't know. Let's go ahead and just start hewing. Time skip. I have got to say, this is going a lot faster than I expected. I didn't even know how big I want to make this room, but like I feel like I want it to be big. Because, I mean, you're going to come in from back here, and this is huge out here. But what can be huger than the imagination? So we want to come around the corner here and have a room that's probably at least twice as far back as this and maybe circular. I'm thinking about the floor. Whatever I use for the floor, I want to have not break easily with the same tools I would use to remove things from the map. So obsidian's an obvious choice because it takes forever to break, so you're not going to accidentally break it. But end stone actually is a pretty neutral color, and it doesn't break very quickly if you're not using enchanted picks. So I kind of am inclined toward that. But anyway, another thing I found was like this area back here, I had to light this up. Somebody had never explored this, by which I mean nobody had ever explored this. What's actually in there? Melon seeds. Boom. Now we have those for later. Also, I've got to get this extra axe off my hotbar. I accidentally lost my sword in a sword-related accident recently, and so now I have no sword. So I put my axe in my number 1 spot on here, which the more I think about it, I'm kind of surprised I haven't just done that forever, because I know swords are technically better in a lot of ways in Minecraft, but with the level of enchantments that we tend to get on this server, it's not really a must-have, you know? You can get by pretty okay without all that stuff. So what I figure is I would grab all of this. I'm thinking of using some of these fences actually to hold the barrels in the cask room under Castle Ravenloft once I get back there. But in the short term, it seemed to make sense to just make room, you know. That's literally what we're doing here. We are making a room. Where there was no room before, there shall yet be a room. And I'm also thinking kind of a little bit about trying to hide this door better. I haven't figured out exactly how I want to hide it, but I think that I do want to hide it. So it's, I don't know, there's something there. There's some element of having this actually be around a corner here. Like, maybe you go through here and turn before you come out into the room. And, oh, hey, there's a chest down there. Oh, and a zombie spawner. You know, I might as well grab these chests. Like, there's no reason not to. Oh, and, hey, another cart. Well, just zombie flesh, mostly. But, man, it's crazy how much of this, there's still rails everywhere. It's like a whole mineshaft system back here. Nobody even noticed. Well, I mean, somebody lit it up, but, you know, on the whole, it's a little bit underutilized. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to overutilize this space. We're going to take everything good about this space and then make it worse through active manipulation with tools. And then once we've gotten things completely out of balance with nature, we'll kind of like look at it and go, this is terrible, and then we'll revise heavily, and then eventually we'll have something that's kind of a facsimile of our actual original intent. Whoa. Too many blocks fallen. No, wait, there's like a hidden block. Boom, found it. Haha. I knew something was glitching me out. As you could probably tell by the glitches and the fact that I freaked out by that. But yeah, I guess I probably don't want to swing this too far to the right because that's going to get into XP Crafted's area. But like just generally bringing this thing over this way should be fine. So we're just going to keep punching some holes in the walls. Time skip. Thanks to the magic of placing a bed here and then sleeping in it, I was able to run to the end, hit a pillar with a bunch of pickaxes, and then return with some obsidian. Now, not as much obsidian as I need to fill this entire floor here, but I figured 49, that's 7 by 7. That's about the square mileage of San Francisco. And if San Francisco can have a gold rush in a 7 by 7 area, then maybe I can have the rush of experimental role-playing game placement inside of Minecraft in a 7 by 7 area. Now, I also haven't perfectly centered this because in the long term, the whole floor will be made out of obsidian. And I'm probably going to go ahead and set up some sort of a lighting system as well. So for right now, I'm just going to kind of put some torches on top of the obsidian and then move them out of the way as I need to. I mean, that seems like it should be good enough in general. Let's just go ahead and place all these blocks here. Boom. Wait, that can't be 7 by 7. I must have did 48. I must have done, no, 46. How would I end up with... Well, whatever. Anyway, somehow I have messed this up. But yeah, there we go. We now have an area here we can use as like a playscape. And then we can just pop over to this chest here like so. And as you can tell, I've got all sorts of stuff in here that we could use to like make those sorts of mazes I was talking about. Like actually cobble or wood or nether. I could mark things with this. I could put some flags in there. So I could say like, okay, you guys are negotiating a city, and there's red brick buildings, and the city blocks are kind of, you know, I could say like, you enter the city here, and this flag is you. And as you turn the corner here, you notice that there is a tall building over this way, and there's a door right here. And then like, this is a really bad example. I should have come up with a really exciting example. Give me your exciting examples of stuff I could have said go in the 7 by 7 grid in the comments below, because clearly, like, I have actual ideas, but I don't want to spoil the actual ideas. But then I should come up with more just silly example ideas. Like, yeah, I could just do something as simple as saying, hey, you come in here. So I figure, for example, I could say, okay, guys, you find yourselves at the entrance to an abandoned mine, and it seems to snake around a little bit, and you can't see very far down the hallway. And they might say, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and proceed cautiously. And so then as they move forward, I can add additional, like, layers or depth to this. And say, okay, you guys are at a corner. There's kind of a light coming from down this way, but you can't really see around that corner. But in front of you, this seems to turn back to the right, but you can't tell without going further forward. And, you know, that sort of thing. And I would have actual details and monsters and traps or stuff like that. But this is just, like, supposed to be fancy graph paper. And this is our fancy graph paper room where we make fancy gaming-related graphs on cave floors made of obsidian. Obsidian paper. It's heavy, man. So, yeah, there we go. We got our catchphrase already. Gonna wipe this out. Just for the sake of cleanliness. Also, I would like to come back here with a little bit more obsidian at some point and get this fully knocked out. But you know what? Thanks to one of our Patreon sponsors, this episode has been mid-roll ad-free. So let's go ahead and read a poem courtesy of Mother Yackle instead of enjoying a mid-roll ad at the middle of this episode. Did you ever imagine we'd fall so far from the sun we'd miss the sea? Or that our waxen wings would ice and we'd flap them against the vacuum, hoping to find a bit of dirt again? Papa, Father, Daedalus, I pray that in time you find a way to blame yourself for my latest mistake. Thank you again to Mother Yackle for making this episode mid-roll free. Anyone who wants to can help make more episodes have fewer ads at patreon.com/JoeHills. Thank you guys again so much for joining me today. I'm really excited about this. This whole room, we've got this awesome... This is the difference between a Scar project. Look. Scar project. Joe Hill's project. Honestly, I'm really proud of this, and I know it's not the best thing in the world, but it doesn't have to be because it's going to do something cool down the line. It's going to keep getting better, and you know what? I'm gonna find a little bit of joy in that. I hope you did too. Until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.